Hi class, I wanted to give you some video feedback. I'm going to look at these as a first-time site visitor. Even though I've looked at them before, I'm going through and looking at usability, functionality, layout, whether or not everything is present, so that you can have everything you need for your final. Okay, so this is just your draft. Let's jump right in. Ricardo, nice and clean, obviously. You would want to put something here if this is your home page. Or you can just make projects your home page. You would move it up, slide it over here in your pages and menu. And then you could just make it your home page. There's, if you look at the three dots in your pages and menus in Wix, you'll have the option to make that your home page. If you delete this in your pages and menu, it will automatically make your next page the home page. Okay. Make sure that everybody's working in 100%. So if I'm looking at actual size, it's being cropped off a little here. So we want to be careful about that. Let's take a look. Okay, everything's above the scroll. That's good. You probably could bring this down a little bit. Maybe bring that in a little. I think once you look at it, we're pretty wide here. Probably, yeah, you want to keep these in the main contents, kind of like title safety on a screen for broadcast. Try and keep the main part in this situation inside the dotted line, okay? And that will definitely make sure that that's not happening. But also double check, how you're working, and view your work in a variety of browsers to be sure. So really clean, love that. Okay, in progress, short films, documentaries. You want to be careful you're using your artwork. I mean, maybe it is, but I think this is possibly not because that's with Gary Cooper. So people, unless you have copyright, those are copyright-free images, then that may be different. But really, people want to see your work. And if you want it to be bigger, you can make it a little bit bigger. The way I show you how to do it is just how to put your images in here. What you can do is duplicate this and make any revisions that are required, and then you'll have two websites, and you can play around with one if you want to change the background a little bit. Do want to make sure that you still have really high contrast. Obviously, this is nice contrast. Let's see. So you have that story. Probably want to bring this up just a little, and that heading here and title, and so you have a little space there, maybe a little more space above this will lay out better. Okay, so when we go here, we're going to multiple things and we have to go back. I don't usually recommend drop downs, but in your case, it's not going to cover anything at all, and you could put these in a drop down so we don't have to keep going back, right? Go here, go back. But the main thing is you have your content here and everything written up. So you're really in a good place. Let's make sure we are using a free Google Voice number and not giving out our personal number. When they contact you through email, you can always, give them your number if you feel comfortable at that point. Obviously, we don't want an address, so you don't really need to have a map. All right. Now let's look at the mobile. See how that's working. Okay. You might be able to work that out to where you're not having a line break. All right. Yeah. Okay, good. Yeah, we're going to need something there. You've got enough work that you could put something there. And let them choose to play it, a video there. Now drop down would show up right here under this. Okay, maybe close out a little bit, but all right, it's working really well. Not a lot of edits to make, just a little bit of that desktop layout mostly, and maybe avoid so much clicking. All right, good work. All right, Jay, we talked about, I think you said you have this as your registered name with your state, because that will be really important. Also, you don't want people to see it and then buy it. If you don't own it, they can. Okay. Nice. Starting with your about. You have a drop down, but it's not covering up anything, so I'm okay with that. And you're showing your work. I don't see duplicates. That's good. I also don't see descriptions, though, here. Maybe in your mobile, it will be present. Okay, you have this. Good. It's a little strange to have these narrow 2 columns like that. If there was any way you could bring this, you could even come out and make it longer. Make this one a little longer, and then the related content under it. It would have be a little more adjacent to the content. I can see this is probably where it breaks, but making that really clear would be good. Same here. Okay, good job. You've got the right amount of separation, pretty much. Slightly smaller here, but not noticeable. Okay, and nothing is playing automatically. That's smart. Okay. And see, you can do some interesting things as long as we can still read this. Now, in week 4, you're going to be checking the accessibility. Some things may be flagged if the contrast isn't high enough, so keep that in mind. I do like the color that you've got here with the gray and black. That's working well. You can even do it down there. It's kind of nice to have headers and footers match backgrounds. Okay, yeah. Widen that. Yeah. Just grouping the descriptions in a way that sometimes if we can, okay, so you have all of these things and you've done all of them in most of these. So you would say directed, written, edited, filmed by, and then your name, right? So we don't have to repeat it so many times. That would be sufficient there. And you might be able to, get some room that way. So you want to work with the way this is, breaking, the spacing, the wrapping there, for sure on your mobile. All right? All right, great start. Alicia? Okay, good. And Jay, did we have a social icon? You'll need to have some kind of social. It can be LinkedIn, it can be anything but just one professional account. All right, linked up, good, good. I recommend a LinkedIn still. There are others, but LinkedIn is still pretty common, and that's where people will look you up for your experience. Let's make sure we have the same vertical spacing. I recognize this. Okay. If you can get these the same width, that would be awesome, but yeah. You are able to, you have a video here, you are able to embed a website that you've already made, like a Real Deal Taco, if you wanted to. And it's not tough at all. I would look at the Wix Learn or do a quick search for support. Super easy. I don't remember the exact steps right now. It's getting late, so as far as walking you through the menu verbally, but it is just a simple embed where you are going to use probably either the URL or an embed code straight into your yeah, you would go over and choose embed. That's what you would do, I think, under your Wix tools over here, okay? When you go to add element, go down and look at embed. But that's how you would do it if you had a website you wanted to embed. It would function. Okay, make sure that's centered. This is nice, great shot. Okay. All right, and again, you can, once you get all of this laid out, you can duplicate it and, you know, explore a little more if you feel like it, you know. Maybe with hierarchy, maybe this is a larger font, maybe that's larger, you know, whatever you want to do. But keep in mind, anyone who duplicates, you want to close up this space, anyone who duplicates their site will need to provide a new link. The duplicate site will have its own link to that. Okay. All right. Nice work. Okay, Micaiah. I'm thinking you could take your cell phone, if you know, if it's not broken or anything, borrow someone else's, and just use daylight. If you're inside a, you know, by a window and it's got a nice simple background like you have here, if you're by a window, that's why people like having their profile photos in cars all the time, which isn't professional looking, but they like the way the glass has filtered the light. So go ahead and, you know, as a cinematographer, you should be able to take, you know, even with your cell phone, a professional headshot. This, of course, isn't going to lose points in any way. It's just that it's a little fuzzy. And looking into the camera, I just feel like this was one you just kind of found. But you can make one for yourself. Everybody can do that. Let's make this column wider. Okay, so grab the vertice there and make it a little wider. That will help this. You can bring it up a little bit and your image there, and that will help. Okay, I do like this font down here. And if that's where you're growing, if that's where you're leaning, I know this is easier to read, easier than when you had that there, for sure. It doesn't mean that you can't play with that, you know, make a duplicate and see how you like it for headers and things like that. You have this up here, that's good. I can see what you do on every page. Okay, good, you have the sound muted. I do want to see descriptions. Maybe it's in your mobile. Okay, you'll want to create this in Illustrator. You can make it a little smaller, put it up here if you like, or over here. So we're not scrolling to get to this content quite so much. This doesn't appear to be linked, so you'll want to do that. The reason you want to make this in Illustrator is it's a vector graphic, which means it's scalable, and you can make it as big as a billboard and it would still be sharp. Okay, so that's why we create logos in Illustrator. This is a nice logo. Okay, it's worth the time to do that because you'll get a lot of use out of it. A logo is really useful for people. All right, so yeah, we want to bring this content up a little bit. Let's look at the mobile. Okay, closing that space. You can try and rewrap that. It might mean making it smaller, in which case this would have to be smaller too. This doesn't appear to be an actual link. Again, to make your socials, you just go over to the blue plus sign and go to add elements when you're in Wix editor and go down to social. And you'll be able to add social bars. And then just double click on it and you'll be able to add the URL that links to your channel or your page. The size works out well here. It's just the resolution. Okay. All right. I think we have one more. Desiree. Okay. Nice and clean. We do want to limit the variety of fonts. So we have this, and that's a really clean, great font. It's very Apple-esque. So meaning like Apple. But this would probably be down here too, right? And it would all be like this to stay clean. So we have a different font here and a different font here. So be careful about that. This may be a place where you want to add something of your work, you know. Let's see. Nice, fantastic image, very professional. We've got focus here. I don't know if that's, yeah, I'm not going to inquire if there's any AI on that. Make sure you link up at least your LinkedIn. You don't need this about me here because we're already on the about page and that's all there is. I think this is fun. It might need to be a little bit bigger. Okay. And if that's who you are, move towards that, this multiple color there. You know, within reason, you know, like maybe your headings here or there, you know, and still being tasteful. So you don't need this twice. You can take the proudly created off. You only need it once. Okay, so either the portfolio page is not actually linked or it has really big files on it. So that's something that you're going to have to work on. Let me refresh and make sure there wasn't some sort of disconnect. Okay, so this isn't working. If you chose to put all your portfolio pieces here, fine, name it portfolio. But there's something going on there and the contact page. So those two pages appear to be missing. All right, let's look at the mobile. You'll want to bring this up. It is easier for people to read things that are left aligned. Remove that, link up. And is this you, Desiree? I'm beginning to wonder now if it's completed. Bring that up. Close that space. You're going to have your name at the top of every place, every heading, every header rather, so that it's on every page. Okay, so we have some things that need to be, allow several more hours and you'll be happy with that you did. It will be less stressful, easy to do. Watch those videos to add your work, all right? You don't have to have a lot of work and it can be student work, all right? Okay, everybody, really great start and I'm excited to see where you are. And you're going to be even further along next week because you've really mastered the interface for Wix for the most part. I mean, it's not that complicated. So you've got the basics down well, and now you'll be able to think about some of the details. All right? Great job, everybody. Reach out with any questions whatsoever.